Welcome friends. We have seen two types of arguments that can be used while communicating between Python functions. First amongst them was positional arguments and second was keyword arguments. But the positional and the keyword arguments that we used so far were fixed in number. Maybe we were calling a function which had one positional arguments and two keyword arguments, or any combination thereof. But they were fixed in number. That's the point that I wanted to emphasize. At times, you may want to define a function which receives variable number of arguments. By this, what I mean is, in one call you may pass 3 values, in another you may pass 5, in yet another you may pass 7. That's what is the meaning of variable length arguments. And let me tell you that variable length positional arguments are also acceptable, variable length keyword arguments are also acceptable. Let's understand both of them now. We will begin with variable length positional arguments. Let me define a function called printIt and see how I am receiving the parameters. I am saying star args. That star args indicates that it can receive any number of arguments. Whatever arguments you pass, they would get collected in this variable args. And then I may iterate through this args because args is essentially a tuple. So I can say for var in args, and then I can keep printing each var, end equal to empty space, indicating that after printing one argument, you will be able to print the next one right in the same line. By default, end is \n. We don't want to go one line at a time. We want to print everything in one line. That is why we are changing end to a value space. We know we can change the default value of the end parameter. Then let's call printIt. First time I make a call, I pass a argument 10. It will be collected through the for loop. It will be printed. For loop naturally will go around only once because this time args contains only 10. But if I pass two parameters, well, args is going to gobble up both, and then the for loop would iterate twice. First time it will print 10, second time it will print out 3.14. In fact, I can pass any number of arguments, maybe 3 arguments, 4 arguments, any number of arguments. All would be collected in args and would be iterated through using a for loop, and in each iteration you will print the argument in sequence, whatever you have received in args. A few tips. As I mentioned, args which gobbles up or takes up or contains or holds all the arguments that we pass to printIt, that args is basically a tuple. Once you appreciate that it's a tuple, you will also realize that you can iterate through that tuple using a for loop, the way we have done it here. The star that we are associating with the args indicates that it will hold all the arguments. If I do not use this star, then only 10 will get stored in args. There will be no place to accommodate 3.14, Sicilian or Punekar. So star is important. It indicates that whatever you pass, I am willing to accept it in args. That is why 2 arguments, 3 arguments, 4 arguments, 5, 10, 15, 20, any number of arguments you pass, args would be able to collect it properly. All will get stored in a tuple. And once stored in a tuple, running a for loop on that tuple is hardly an issue. We have been doing it all along. Lastly and importantly, you have to realize that you cannot make use of 2 args. Don't say def printIt star args1 comma star args2, saying that well, args1 will collect 3 values, args2 will collect 2 values. If you pass 5 parameters, first 3 will go to args1, second or next 2 will go to args2. That will not happen. Because how will it be able to decide that the distribution should be 3-2 or 4-1 or 1-4 or 5-0? It will not know. Hence, you cannot have multiple variables here which are ready to gobble or ready to take multiple values at a time. So there should be only one star args. But of course nothing special about the variable name. You can give it any other name. If you give A or B or C, that's perfectly alright. Args is just a variable name. The way we can make use of variable length positional arguments, we can also make use of variable length keyword arguments. Let me demonstrate this to you. I will define print it, but notice that we are no longer saying star args, we are saying star keyword args. Again, keyword args is only a variable, you are free to give it any other name. What is more important is that you are using 2 stars instead of 1. When you use 1 star, it means it's a variable which can gobble up multiple positional arguments, whereas star indicates that it will gobble up multiple keyword arguments. Now in keyword arguments, keywords or variable names are used to do the matching. That is why this keyword args is really treated as a dictionary, where you have variable name and its value as the key value pair of different elements in the dictionary. If we want, we can iterate through this dictionary by saying for name comma value in kwargs dot items. Dot items we know gives us key as well as value, and each time through this loop I can print out the key value pair by saying print name comma value. End equal to space, again indicating that we want all key value pairs to be printed in one line. If I make a call to this printed function by saying a equal to 10, that's perfect. A and 10, they would be treated as key and value. They will get stored in kwargs dictionary, and then kwargs.item will let me have access to name and the value. When I print out, name will be printed out as A, value will be printed out as 10. Instead of A equal to 10, I can also say A equal to 10 and B equal to 3.14. So 2 keywords and their values are being passed into the dictionary kwargs. So for loop would go around 2 times now, printing key value pairs during each iteration. This is the third call. This is equally okay. I may have a dictionary while calling also, but dictionary that we have in DCT, we will have to unpack it and then pass it to print underscore it function. So such a call is also perfectly fine. So kwargs, as I mentioned, is a dictionary. Star has to be used to indicate that it's a dictionary. The variable names and the values would be stored as key value pairs in this dictionary. Star, as I mentioned, indicates that it will hold all the arguments that are passed to it. But those arguments will have to be keyword arguments. Means I will have to use the form A equal to 10, B equal to 3.14. That is the form in which I will have to pass multiple variable length keyword arguments. And lastly, we cannot use multiple kwargs. Means we cannot use here kwargs1 and kwargs2, saying that out of 5 keyword arguments that we are passing, 3 should go to the first and 2 should go to the next. That is not possible. If you decide to use variable length keyword arguments, use only one variable like kwargs. So that covers how to communicate with functions by using variable length positional arguments and variable length keyword arguments. Goodbye for now. See you soon.